Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this out there on the World Wide Web. Jeremy Gilliam for Syscon TV here at Cloud Expo. We're up to the 8th International Cloud Expo now. We're in New York. Rich Wolski is joining us, CTO of Eucalyptus Systems. Thanks for joining us again, Rick. You've been a faithful follower of Cloud Expo.
I have been, and thank you very much for having me. It's a tremendous pleasure.
So far, ROI is okay?
Excellent. Very, very good.
We didn't pay him for that. Now, here's the thing. Eucalyptus is always making noise around the cloud in a way that everybody seems to like. What is this secret sauce that people only ever say nice things about you?
Well, thank you. That's a lovely thing for you to say yourself. I think it's two things. One is Eucalyptus is built to run on whatever hardware with whatever software, operating systems, hypervisors, and storage architectures you have in place, so that you can take the existing infrastructure that you've got and turn it into a cloud without ripping and replacing what you have. And then the second thing is the software ecosystem that's provided by the AWS API. Eucalyptus has a very faithful implementation of the AWS API, and so the applications that run in it can run in AWS pretty much unmodified, and all of the software tooling that's been developed around AWS will also work with Eucalyptus.
Tell people who haven't followed that bit of the story, Rich, how did we get that alliance between Eucalyptus and Amazon? You know, where did you decide that was the implementation that made most sense?
Well, so it was a bit of an accident. When we started doing cloud research at the university, we were faced with a problem, which was we were trying to justify the work we were doing as cloud research and not as grid research or data center virtualization research. And after trying to argue that logically, we decided, well, at the time we were doing this, which was late 2007, early 2008, the only real cloud example that everybody could agree on was AWS. And we thought, well, if we could emulate AWS so faithfully that an application or a user couldn't tell the difference, then we could argue conclusively that we had built at least one cloud. And then when we went on to commercialize it, we actually toyed with the idea of other APIs or doing our own API, but our users, our customers, and the application ecosystem really was telling us, for now, that's the de facto standard, and so that's what we support.
And is that generated simply by familiarity, or is it by excellence?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that they were the first. AWS was certainly the first really large-scale commercially usable cloud. And I think the AWS people don't get enough credit for having thought really hard about what aspects of the API would scale well, and what aspects of the API might not scale so well. And so that, in terms of excellence, the scalability and the ease of use and the model that they chose, which I'm sure was not an accident, has turned out to be very powerful.
So, looking forward, I mean, you seem to be making announcements all the time. You seem to have, as I say, you've got this incredible presence in the marketplace. How many people now involved, and what does the future hold?
Well, at the moment, we're a little bit over 50, which is great. It's a growth curve that we didn't expect when we started it. And open source accounts for a lot of that. There's just a tremendous amount of uptake all over the world. The future for Eucalyptus will be as an open source company. We continue to put out our software under the GPL for people to use. We're going to expand, I think, technologically in a couple of different directions. We'll continue with the AWS API. I think we'll focus much more on the monitoring and ease of use aspects of it, particularly for different data center deployment scenarios. And I think we'll look at trying to make image development a little bit easier.
Wow, there's a curveball, image development.
Yes, I think one of the things that we've identified in working with people is that, you know, once you get Eucalyptus running in your data center, the next thing that you really need to do is figure out how to create, manage, deploy, do software engineering on full images, packages of software that are going to cooperate when running on your Eucalyptus system. And we think that there's something that the cloud can do to make that easier.
I have to ask you, I've often asked you this before, but we're going to do it one more time. Why did we go with Eucalyptus?
I'm sorry, why?
Why did we go with the name Eucalyptus?
Elastic Utility Computing Architecture, linking your programs to useful systems. And the reason for that is because I've been doing this long enough to where systems, computer systems, particularly research computer systems, which is Eucalyptus's heritage, have to be acronyms. So when the members of the group came up with Eucalyptus, because there are many eucalyptus trees at UC Santa Barbara, it occurred to me almost instantly that it wasn't accurate.
Let's just try it one time, but not Wolski style, but Gielan style. Slowly. On your marks, get set, go.
Elastic Utility Computing Architecture, linking your programs to useful systems.
That's absolutely wonderful. There is no possible way I can say anything more than thank you, Rich Wolski. We're going to continue following the Eucalyptus story, obviously. Here we are at 8th Cloud Expo New York. That'll be 9th Cloud Expo Silicon Valley. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining us out there on the World Wide Web. Slip on over to Eucalyptus' website and just see what these guys are doing. It's fantastic. Thanks again, Rich.
Thanks so much.